Okay, hello. If anyone's here, cool. I'm gonna go. I tried to do a stream before this, but my hair was crazy, but it's still crazy now. So there's no point. But what I'm doing here is maybe you were here before. I did 2 live streams before this. I'm an English teacher. I have a lot of experience. I teach a lot of grammar to students. So what I was doing in the first 2 live streams was, sorry, I'm shaking the table. I was doing past tense grammar training. Okay, I call it Q&A grammar training. Q&A, question answer grammar training. So what I do is, if there's a lot of people here in the chat, well, there's no one here now, but when people join, I will ask a question with a certain grammar tense, and then when you can type your answer in the chat, and you can try and answer the question, but try and use the same grammar as the question. Okay, so for example, if I ask you a past continuous, like what were you doing on Monday? Just try and answer with the past continuous as well and say, on Monday, I was playing my PlayStation. Okay, so what were you doing? Past continuous, were doing. I was playing video games. I was playing, past continuous. Okay, so I covered the main past tenses before, and it was pretty cool. There was a lot of people in the chat like practicing their grammar. And if you want to see the main past tenses, you can go back to those videos. If you just go to my channel, if you go to live, the live section, you can see those past live stream grammar videos. And in there, I cover the main past tenses, the most important past tenses. And so, sorry, today there's 1 or 2 more weird grammar tenses in the past, and I'm going to talk about them. So if you're here, if you want to join, I will ask a question, and then you just answer in the chat. I'll give you corrections, and we all learn together, okay? And I'll give you corrections on your grammar. So let's just go. So the last 2 videos we did present perfect. Okay, let me just review them quickly. Present perfect, we use when something happened in the past, but we don't know when. Okay, I have seen Terminator 2 before. When, we don't know. Doesn't matter. It's just I have done that in my past. It's in my experience. We don't talk about when with present perfect. Oh, another thing. Maybe it's Friday. Maybe no one wants to study grammar on Friday, but if there is anyone, cool. Let's go. So present perfect. When we don't, let me bring this closer. So we use the present perfect when we don't mention time. Okay, I've seen Terminator 2. I've lived in Spain before. I've learned how to play guitar before. We can also say recently. I've done this thing recently. Okay, I've traveled to Japan recently. Okay, it's just recently, but I don't mention when. Then when we want to mention when exactly, there's a specific mark in the timeline. When we want to know that specific mark, then we use past simple. We don't use present perfect. So I went to Tokyo 4 months ago. So 4 months ago, it's a mark on the timeline. We cannot say I have visited Tokyo 4 months ago. No. Because we mentioned time, past simple. I traveled to Tokyo 4 months ago. And then when we zoom into that story of Tokyo, we can use past simple and past continuous to describe all the main details of the story. So I was traveling with my girlfriend in Tokyo. We were staying in an Airbnb. We ate lots of good food. You see, past simple and past continuous. What else? We visited most of the interesting neighborhoods in Tokyo. And okay, see, I can just keep going and build that story. That specific story that's on a mark in the timeline, if you know what I mean. So it's 4 months ago in Tokyo, this specific story, all the details here We just use past simple and past continuous mostly. Then we could talk about what happened before and what was going to happen after that point, that specific point in the past. And one of my students described it to me as they're kind of like add-ons. An add-on. It's an extra little piece of grammar you can add on. So, you know, this is past perfect and past perfect continuous. So, for example, before this trip to Tokyo, we had been planning for this trip for 2 months. We had been planning. So had been planning. It's something continuous up until a point in the past. It's not until now. If we say had been doing something, it's only until a point in the past. If you want to talk about what's happening until now, then you'll say I have been doing something. For example, in this class, I have been speaking for 6 minutes. Okay, have been doing is until now. Had been doing, had had been doing it is until a point in the past. And then we can also say had done. So what had you done to prepare for this trip in Tokyo? We had prepared our documents. Okay, had prepared, not have prepared, because have prepared, it's something we did sometime until now. But had prepared, it's something you did sometime but before a point in the past. So the point in the past is this Tokyo trip 4 months ago. So before that, we had prepared our documents. We had researched all the best things to do in Tokyo. We had researched all the best foods to eat in Tokyo, etc. So where do we go now? Okay, and then so we've zoomed into the specific time. Then before, had been doing, had done. This is only like 1% of grammar. When you're telling a story, this little add-on, had been doing, had done, it's only 1% of the grammar, really. 95% of the grammar when you're telling a story, it's just past simple and past continuous. We did this, we were doing this. We did this, we were doing this, etc. And oh, by the way, a little add-on, we had been doing this before, or we had done this before. But a lot of students sometimes, if I teach them we had been doing, we had done, they will try and build the whole story with, for example, they'll say, I had visited Tokyo 4 months ago. I had been traveling with my girlfriend. I had stayed in Airbnbs. We had eaten a lot of good food. If you cannot build the whole story with had been doing and had done, you should build the story with past simple and past continuous. We did these things. We were doing these things. We did these things. We were doing these things. Just 1% of the time you can say we had been doing something before or we had done. Okay, I know I repeat myself a lot, but repetition is very important. So let me get a drink. So we zoomed into that specific story 4 months ago, Tokyo. We had been doing something, we had done something before, but then after, this is like future from a past point. So future from a past point, we use, well, in the future, from right now into the future, we could say I will do something or I am going to do something. So I will sleep after this video. I am going to sleep after this video. So will and going to. And will and going to, there's actually no difference in function between them. I know in school, a lot of students learn like that we have to use will in this situation and we have to use going to for beliefs and values and for your favorite color. Honestly, for me, will and going to, they have the same function. It's basically will infinitive and going to infinitive. Will and going to, same function. It just means future. Some students think it means continuous, but it doesn't mean continuous. So, what am I talking about now? Will and okay. So from now into the future, I will do something or I am going to do something. Okay, you take this logic here and you just take it to a past point, then will becomes would. So the way we use would in the past, it's like will, but we just use would. Okay, but we have to use the thinking verb, and it's a little bit strange. So you have to say something like, when we arrived in Tokyo. Okay, so I'm going to 4 months in the past. This main story. When we arrived in Tokyo, we planned. So planned is a thinking verb. Yeah, we planned that we would. Now would is like will, but it's just in the past. We planned that we would eat lots of great Japanese food. Okay. So now you only know that that was my intention. That was our goal. Okay. It's like from now I can say, if I was in Tokyo now, I could say, oh, I will eat lots of good Japanese food. Or I am going to eat lots of good Japanese food. But we take it to the past. I thought I would eat, or we planned we would eat, or we decided we would eat, we hoped we would eat. You just need a thinking verb for some reason in the past when you use would. Okay. So if anyone's here, I mean, if anyone's watching this, I mean, you can say hello in the chat, and then we could do question answer grammar practice. I will ask a question and then you answer using the same grammar, and I will correct your grammar. But let me get back to the review of what we did before. So let me get some water. So we planned we would. We hoped we would eat lots of great Japanese food. So from there, you only know that it was a goal. That was an intention. So normally after that, we have to clarify. We have to say, like, did it happen or did it not happen? So we normally you would say something like, when we arrived in Tokyo, we planned we would eat lots of great Japanese food, but you can either go but negative or so positive. You could say, but I was sick the whole holiday, so I drank water. Um, it's negative, okay. So we planned we would eat lots of great Japanese food, but this negative thing, or so we planned we would eat lots of great Japanese food, so we found some really great restaurants in where Ginza, some neighborhoods in Tokyo. Okay. So there I clarified because I was telling you the goal, and then I clarified with the negative or the positive. But this negative thing, or so we did it. And you clarify with the past simple. But then it's the same thing with, from now into the future, you could say, I am going to do something. Okay. It's, you know, I will eat lots of good Japanese food is the exact same as I am going to eat lots of great Japanese food. For native speakers in daily life language, I will eat great Japanese food. I'm going to eat great Japanese food in Tokyo. It's this exact same meaning. The problem is in school with the grammar books, you get all these rules, and then you start to think like, oh, there's a big difference between will and going to. But in daily life conversation, there's really no difference. So I am going to eat lots of great Japanese food. We take that to the past. Now it becomes, when we arrived in Tokyo, we were going to. Because in the present to the future, it's I am going to in the future. But take it to the past. When we arrived, we were going to eat lots of great Japanese food. And then you have to clarify, but I was sick, so we didn't do that. Or so we found some great restaurants on Google Maps. So now, yeah, you could mention a lot of goals. You could say, when we arrived at the airport, we were going to buy some SIM cards. We were going to, but then normally I have to clarify, like, so we found the SIM card vending machine, or but we were going to find some SIM cards, but everything was closed and we had to leave the airport. Okay, so you have to normally clarify. So when we arrived in, there's actually no real difference. Actually, in function, there's no difference between when we arrived in Tokyo No, when we arrived at the airport in Tokyo, we planned we would buy some SIM cards, and we were going to buy some SIM cards. There's actually no real difference in function. I mean, it's really style. Future tenses are really more stylistic, like they don't have a huge difference in function. Past tenses, they're a little more strict. But anyway, so let's keep going. Um, okay, so that's just a review of all the past tenses. Then in the last video, me and Sulfur, we were having a really good chat, and we were practicing all this grammar. And you can go back and have a look at that. Have a look at that video if you want. And then what we also did was we did modals in the past. So we did things like, okay, it's modals, but in the future we say like tomorrow I should infinitive. Tomorrow I should go somewhere. Tomorrow I should study Chinese. Okay, or tomorrow I must study Chinese, or tomorrow I could study Chinese. Tomorrow I might study Chinese. Okay, so it's modal and then infinitive. For the future, for the present, general, it's the same thing. I should study Chinese more generally. So it's should infinitive. And I must study Chinese more generally. But when we, okay, but when we use the modals in the past, now it totally changes because we have to say something like, well, you have to say exactly, you have to say modal and then present perfect. It's a bit weird. Like I should have done, I could have done, they must have done, they might have done. Okay, so we use it for regrets especially. So when I was younger, I should have eaten healthier food. I should have eaten. And then so that's like a strong regret. And then you could say you could use could, okay? Like, oh, I could have eaten healthier food. Should, it's a stronger regret. It's a stronger feeling like, ah, I should have eaten healthier food. I could have eaten healthier food. It's still regret, but it's a little nicer. It's nicer to yourself. To yourself. Okay. So should, could. I'm just reviewing all the grammar from like I'm trying to go very quickly and just review the past tenses grammar that we have done so I can move on to the other grammar. I should have done, I could have done. Now we're talking about guesses in the past. For guesses, we use, I wonder if, oh, wow. Ah, okay. Prasida, I remember you were here last time. I remember you joined the last live stream. So if you would like to practice some grammar, I'm going to do some more question answer grammar. I know grammar on a Friday is not the best, but if you would like to learn some grammar, we can do that. So you can just type in the chat. Um, so Prasida, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Prasida. I am going to just quickly review the grammar from the last video, and then I'll maybe me and you, if you want, we can practice some other past tenses. And then I'm going to do future tenses. Okay, so just very quickly. So might have done, may have done, must have done. When we use these in the past, might, may, and must, we're guessing about the past. Okay, so um, let's just say you're working on a project at work and there's some problem with the project at work. Okay. How are you, Proceda? Where are you where are you at the moment? Which country? But I'll continue with the grammar. Um, what was I saying? Oh, might have done. Okay, so let's pretend you're working on a project. Oh, Nepal. Wow. Interesting. Really interesting. I'm from Nepal. I'm from Nepal. Interesting. Wow. One of the most, I don't know. I haven't ever had a student from Nepal for some reason. But okay, let me get back to the grammar. So actually, Proceda, maybe let's practice this just to review. So let's pretend that you're at work. Sorry, my hair is absolutely crazy. So let's pretend you're working on a project, okay? And there's a problem with the project, and now you're trying to guess what happened before. Okay, like you're trying to guess what your colleague did for this mistake to happen in this project. So what do you think? Okay, so try and answer this question. What might have happened? What might have happened? Okay, so you have to answer something like, my colleague might have done something, but you can change the verb. You could say, my colleague might have, just try and think of a verb you can use there. My colleague might have done what to cause the problem in your project. And you can type and I will correct your answer. But just remember, this is a guess about the past. It's a guess about something that you think happened in the past. You can, if anyone else is here, you can type your answer in the chat and then I will correct your grammar. So I'll just wait there and, oh yeah, okay. All right, cool. So my colleague might have done mistaken at, wow. Good grammar. There's a few mistakes, but generally your language is pretty good here. Grammar is pretty good. So my colleague might have done a mistake. Yeah, that's the only thing you're missing. You're only missing a mistake. Article. So my colleague might have. You can also say made. Yeah. And this is verb number 3. I don't know if you know verb number 3, but it's do, did, done. Make, made, made. Yeah. See, saw, seen. Forget, forgot, forgotten. Break, broke, broken. Okay. So it's always verb number 3. So you could say my colleague might have done a mistake. But it's a little bit with mistakes. It's better to say my colleague might have made a mistake in analyzing the project. So wow, yeah, your grammar is quite good because you're using the gerund, analyzing the project. That's good. Okay, let's go for the next one. Um, Let me ask you, Presito, what is the difference between might and may in this situation? So what is yeah, I can't talk for an English teacher, but what is the difference between my colleague might have made a mistake and my colleague may have made a mistake? Is there any difference between might and may? Okay, my hair is crazy. It's unfixable. Wow, it's crazy. Even worse. So might means they have done mistake and I'm sure about it. So may, you're not so sure? May means I don't have proper information. I might, sorry, what do you mean in my point of view? Okay. Or I would just say from no, in my point of view is okay. So sorry, really just I hope I don't seem too vain, but my hair just seems absolutely insane. So Presida, I'm sorry to say, but there's actually no difference between. Well, there is a difference, but in terms of being sure, there's no difference. You're the same level of sure between them. The only difference is being formal or not formal. Okay, so might he might have made a mistake. It's kind of more, you could say, working class or something, like just regular everyday people on the street. This might have happened, that might have happened, this may have happened. It's just more the Queen's English. It's more royal, educated British English. It's just more formal. But most regular people just say, "Oh, this might have happened." But in terms of probability of the thing happening, there's no difference. Yeah, I would just yeah. The best thing to remember is there's no difference between might and may. May is just more polite, more formal. So, what about must? So, what would be the meaning of, oh, he must have made a mistake? My colleague must have made a mistake. What would that mean? But don't worry about might and may, because all of my students, that's a very common, just a difficult piece of grammar to learn. I'm sure that, yeah, exactly. So whenever you say, he must have made a mistake, like it's still a guess. Like really, it's still a guess, but your colleague, he always makes this mistake. He's done this mistake 20 times before. It's like, he must have done that again. He must have made that mistake again. Exactly. Because must in the future is obligation. Like, I must do this tomorrow. I have to, no choice. Or generally, I must do something. It's more obligation. But must in the past, it's a guess, but you're very sure about the guess. Okay, good stuff, Prasida. Your grammar is pretty good. So let's move on. I think we've reviewed well, yeah, I'm going to move on to some other past tense grammar, if that's okay with you. Yeah, because I want to get to future tenses. So, Priscilla, let's do used to and would. Okay. So, I'm sure you know used to. So, let me ask you a question. Did you go to, no, let me think of a question. Hmm. Let's just say when you were in school or when you were in university. You can choose. Yeah. So, the days you were in, made is, sorry, let me just see. Made is past and make is present. Sorry, what do you mean there, Prasida? Made is past and make is present? I'm sure that he oh. I'm sure that he had made a mistake. Yeah, that's past perfect. Made is past and make is, yeah. Yeah, make is present. But okay, let me just move on to used to and would. So you could choose university or school. Here's the question. When you were in university or school, what time did you used to wake up every morning? What time did you used to wake up? So just try answer with the same grammar. Yeah, used to. And thank you very much for joining, Prasida, because I was talking to myself before this. It's good when someone's here I can interact with. Okay, so the question is when you were in school, or you can choose when you were in school or when you were in university. The idea is many years ago. Okay, just like it could be a few years ago, it could be many years ago, but what time did you used to wake up every morning? Okay, I used to wake up at 6 o'clock. I used to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning when I was at school. Perfect. So the reason why we use used to is because it's a regular routine habit. So I understand from that sentence that I understand it was every morning she or used to wake up. Okay, used to wake up at in school or at school. You can use you can use both. In this situation, in and at are okay for school and university. When I was at university, when I was in university, yeah, in or at. So let's. Okay, so next question. What did you used to eat for breakfast? What did you used to eat for breakfast? So what did you used to eat for breakfast? I used to eat bread and milk. I would say for breakfast. I used to eat bread and milk for breakfast. Okay, perfect. Um, Let me ask you one more question. How did you used to get to school? How did you used to travel to school? How did you used to get to school, or how did you used to travel to school? Okay, so what we did before was first question was, what time did you used to wake up? And Prasida said, I used to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning when I was in school or at school, no problem. The next question was, what did what did you used to eat for breakfast? And she said, I used to eat bread and milk for breakfast. So sorry, I cannot. There's a problem with the yeah, this emoji. No, yeah, there my icon for the emoji gets in the way of your comment. I don't know why it would do that. But I think okay. So how did you used to travel to school? Oh, wow. Thank you. Perfect. Perfect. So I didn't see that's good. See, for the when we're talking about a regular routine habit in the past, we can use used to and past simple, but we can actually use would as well. I'm going to show you now. So you used past simple negative past simple here. So I didn't use buses. I would say I didn't use buses. Yeah, I'll type this. I didn't use buses. Okay, sorry. I didn't use buses. But if you if you try and use used to in this situation, how would you use a negative used to for buses here? Because you used past simple. Past simple is okay, but can you just try and use a used to do, but try and use it in the negative. So it's I didn't you right. I won't say the full answer. So just try and for your answer, you said I didn't used buses. Past simple would be I didn't use buses. but just try and use used to, because it's really used to infinitive. Used to walk, used to study, used to work, used to watch. I used to walk from home to get. Okay, yeah. I used to walk. That's perfect. That's perfect. I used to walk. So this means a regular routine habit in the past. You did it every morning. But I was really trying to get you to say I didn't used to use buses. You could have said this. This was possible. This is another option. I didn't I didn't used to use buses. Okay? It's like used to, but you can just make it negative. So, let's have a look. Let me think. Oh, let me look at your previous answer. So I didn't because my school was near. Not near from my house. Just say it was near my house. You don't need from. Just my school was near my house, and I used to walk. I used to walk. That grammar is perfect. Okay. So I used to walk from home to get to school. Okay. So now let's go back because when we're talking about regular routine habit, there's three ways to do it. One way is used to. So I used to wake up at 6. I used to eat bread and drink milk. And I used to walk to school. Now, not a lot of students know, but you can actually use would here. And a lot of students, when I tell them the first time, they say, would? You can use would here. But yeah, you can use would. The problem is for students when they see would is such a mysterious word that students just see would and a lot of students don't understand that would has 5 different, totally different functions. There's 2 ways to use would in the past. One way, it's future from a past point. So when I arrived in Tokyo, we planned that we would eat lots of good Japanese food. It's like will. The function is like will, but it's from a past point. It's future from a past point. So that's one function for would in the past. The other function for would in the past, it has the same function as used to. Okay, so Prasida, here's a question. Um, when you were in school, how no, when you were in school, what time would you wake up every morning? What time would you wake up every morning? You So when you were in school, what time would you wake up every morning? And just try and answer with would. And just remember, it has the same meaning as used to. It means regular, routine, habit. Every day you did that. So the question is, and if anyone else is in here, you can join in. You can type your answer. I'll give you corrections. I would wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's perfect. Proceda, did you know that would and used to have the same meaning in this situation? Some students know that. Some students know, but for some reason in schools, the grammar books are just, for some reason in schools, a lot of students don't learn that would and used to have the same meaning in certain situations like this. So, Proceda, did you know that they have the same function? I thought they both have different meaning. Exactly. It's very confusing when students see would because would, it's such a mysterious word. It has 2 different functions in the past. There's You can use would in the future. You could say, like tomorrow I want to go to the beach, but you can also say tomorrow I would like. I would like to go to the beach. See, would like, but it's would like to verb. I would like to go. I would like to study. I would like to visit. I would like to watch a movie. So would like, if you see would like and then verb, I would like to watch a movie, that's future. So the function is future. And then we have conditionals with would, and conditionals are absolutely crazy. Would seems like if I had done that, then it would be great or something else. So you're thinking conditional, I think. Would seems like if I had done that, then it would be. Wait, let me try and understand. Um, would seems like if I had done that. See, it's yeah, yeah. You're thinking conditional, which is correct. Conditionals are a separate function for would. So you see, there's so many functions for would. There's I would like to. It just means want. I want to do that, but it's more polite. I would like to do that. Then there is conditionals, first, second, third. Conditionals are very complicated. So the key with conditionals, you have to see if, yeah, if this, then you know it's a conditional. And then, but the two ways to use would in the past are it's like future from a past point, or one function, it's the same as used to. Yeah, would is really confusing. Okay, so let's keep going. So next question. Uh, okay, so in school, every morning you would wake up at. Do you know what you could say as well? You could do a contraction and you could say I'd I'd wake up at 6. I'd wake up so when I was in school every morning, I'd wake up at 6 o'clock every morning. I'll type this for you. So every morning I'd wake up at 6 o'clock. Okay. So okay, just a contraction. Because if you're watching movies, watching TV shows, very often you'll hear I'd, and it's such a soft D that a lot of students don't really realize what they're hearing. And the problem is sometimes it could be had, you could see something like I'd um, forgotten what? My bag. I'd forgotten my bag. See, if you see something like I'd forgotten my bag, forgotten is verb number 3. So this one, I'd forgotten my bag is really I had forgotten my bag. Okay, so when you do a contraction, you just have to understand from context if it's would or had. But normally you'll know it's had if it's verb number 3, like I had forgotten, I had done, I had made. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, past perfect tense. Yeah. But sometimes there's a contraction with the past perfect tense, like I'd forgotten my bag, and then it gets confusing. 'Cause- But the key to know that it's would is you have to hear something like, oh, every morning or every day or every weekend. So now we know it's regular routine habit. And if you see a contraction like every morning I'd wake up at 6 o'clock, I'd wake is infinitive. It's not a third form. I know this is very, very complicated, like, but I think the best way is just repetition. Like if I give you all these explanations, you can go crazy, But I think the best thing is just question answer, question answer. So okay, let's go for the next one. So try a contraction next. So every morning, what would you eat for breakfast? What would you eat for breakfast? And if anyone else is here, you can jump in, you can type your answers as well. But I think it's just me and you, Procida. So, so every morning, what would you eat for breakfast? And try the contraction. So what would you eat for breakfast every morning? I'd yeah, exactly. I'd have a cup of coffee and a sandwich. It just and a sandwich. Yeah. So have is infinitive. So if it's infinitive, I know it's would. Yeah, I would have. Because if we're using past perfect, then it would be verb number three, like I'd had. Yeah. Or I'd eaten. Very good. So just remember that I used to have a cup of coffee and a sandwich, and I'd have a cup of coffee. Oh, yeah, it should be cup of coffee. Yeah, cup of coffee. So just remember that I used to have a cup of coffee, and I'd have a cup of coffee. They have the exact same meaning. They're just different options to use when you're talking about a regular routine habit in the past. So next question: how would you get to school every morning? How would you get to school? How would you travel? How would you get to school? I'd get to school. For some reason, we say by foot. If you say like by bus, by train, by car, we say by foot. I'd get to school by foot, or if you want to use walk, you have to say walking. It's gerund. I'd get to school by walking. Normally, you would say there. I'd get to school by walking there. No worries, no worries. You can also just say I'd walk to school every morning. Every morning, I'd walk to school. I would walk. So, Prasida, maybe let's go to the other past tenses, okay? Because I want to cover some other past tenses. So, or Prasida, if you want, in the beginning of this video, I covered all the main past tenses like present perfect, past simple, past continuous, past perfect continuous, past perfect, and future from a past point. But I want to have a look at present perfect and present perfect continuous. Yeah, that's tricky because okay, let's just go. Um, what are you doing right now, Presida? Are you working? Are you studying in life? What are you doing right now for work or for study? I'm currently applying for New Zealand. Wow, interesting, New Zealand. I lived in Australia for some years, and I had some friends who went to live in New Zealand, and they said it was very cool. I'm currently applying for New Zealand for my further studies. Okay, so you're studying right now, yeah? So here's a question. How long have you been studying for? Well, what are you studying right now? Are you studying for a degree or a master's, a PhD, or a, a course? What are you studying right now? You don't have to be too personal. I mean, you can you can just speak very generally if you want. But are you studying in university? And if possible, which topic? Like, I've just completed my high school and want to pursue bachelor's. Okay, cool. I have just completed my high school. Okay, see, this is a little difficult because for this grammar, I want to ask you something that you have been doing up until now and you're still doing now, but you finished high school. So you want to pursue bachelor's. Okay. Let's just take, for example, let's take this live stream. Okay. So here's a question. How long have we been speaking for in this video today? How long have we been speaking for? How long have we been speaking for? But that grammar is good as well. I have completed my high school. Yeah. We've been speaking for the past. So we need the. We've been speaking for the past 50 minutes. Perfect. So that means this grammar means, yeah, maybe I should just explain. This grammar means that it's there's an action in the past that was continuing for a duration, but but the action still continues now. Because look, we're still speaking now. So we have been speaking for the past 15 minutes and we're still talking now. Okay. Yeah, because this is for this grammar, we didn't finish in the past. We still do the action now. Okay. So I'm a little bit confused where to use the for and yeah, preposition. Okay, let's have a look. I'm a little bit confused where to use the. Let's say the and the and okay, I'll type the and when, okay, maybe you can try and answer. When do we use the? So we're talking about nouns, yeah, yeah, we always use the before a noun, yeah. Well, it could be before an adjective that's before a noun, but when do we, whoa, what do you think, Priscilla? The book, the earth. Yeah, so how would you explain that? Why do we use the compared to a? What if I say, oh, there's a book, there's an elephant. But what if I said to you, oh, there's the book. Oh, over there, look, there's the elephant. So what do you think the difference is? No idea. So pretend, so we're talking now. So pretend that we can both see an elephant. Yeah? We both know the elephant. We both know it. So hey, look at the elephant because we can both see it. But if I'm telling you a story, I could say, oh, Procida, yesterday I was walking down the street and there was an elephant. Yeah, we would have to use an elephant. Yeah. For nouns that begin with a vowel, we just say an elephant. So you don't know the elephant. You have no clue. I only know the elephant. So I have to tell you there was an elephant. Okay. But if we can both see the thing, if we both know the thing, then it's the elephant. Okay. So pretend we're both in the library or something and there's a book. Let's just say there's a book, and so pretend you're sitting at a table, I'm sitting at a table, and there is a book on the table. We can both. I understood the element which can be seen in the moment. Let me see. Oh, I understood the element which can be seen in that moment. We use the. No, 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 no. Yeah, it could be right now. Like pretend we're sitting at a table. There's a, well, here I'm using a book, but pretend you are here at the table and you can see the book and I can see the book, then it is the book. Right now, the book. You can see it, I can see it. We can both see it. It's the book. But I can also say to you, um, I can tell you about a book. And I can say, oh, I have this great book about the history of where? The history of Nepal, for example. If two people sees the, well, if what really matters is that we both know the thing. So we can both see the book. We both know the book. But I can also tell you that pretend you gave me a book 2 weeks ago. So you know that book. You know the book because you gave me the book 2 weeks ago. So I can say, "Oh, sorry, Procida. I gave the book to my friend. You know the book. You know the book you gave me. I gave the book to my friend because this happened 2 weeks ago, and you know the book, and I know the book. Okay, so it could be right now. We both see the book. We know the book, or it could be 2 weeks ago. You gave me a book, so I know that book. You know that book. It's the book. But if you don't know the book, if you never gave me a book ever, and I just say, "Oh, I gave a book to my friend," you don't know that book. So then it becomes a. Do you? Is that okay? It really depends on, do we both know the thing? If we both know the thing, could be now or in the past or in the future. If we both know the thing and we both know that we know the thing, then we use the. If one of us doesn't know the thing now or in the past, then we say, "Oh, there is a book." Is that more clear? If two persons see, then the. If two persons see, yeah, that's one situation. If yeah, if is that okay, Proceda? Is it more clear, or do you still have doubts? Like, for example, the Earth. Everyone knows the Earth. We all know. We all know the Earth. It's a shared object that we all know. So we all know the sun. We all see the sun. It's the sun. There's a book. Exactly. Because Ariel doesn't know the book. She doesn't know it. But you're telling her there is one book. Exactly. Because Ariel doesn't know that book. Only you know the book. So yeah, that's correct. I could say there is a company in my country that sells bananas. Hello, Erene. Hopefully, I'm saying your name correctly, Erene. Erene, sorry, I have a strange feeling that you're one of my students from before, or no? Did we ever take lessons? I don't know why, but okay, we never took lessons. Okay, so let me see. What's the question? Why do we use the in some patterns? Example, the school. Do you know what's weird? There are some nouns where, just consider this, is that there's some nouns that are just very, very strange. Okay, and we don't use articles with them. There's only a few, but just think like 99% of nouns in the world, we use the or we use a. If we both know the thing, then it's the. If one of us doesn't know the thing, then it's a. But there are some examples of nouns where we don't use any article, any the, any a. So, for example, hospital. I could say, "Oh, I went to hospital yesterday. I went to hospital." There's no the, there's no a. But just think of it like 1% of nouns are strange, and we don't use an article for them because it's kind of like very shared concepts that we all know. We all know hospital. So I went to hospital, or um, I went to university. I went to university last week. I went to university. There's no the, there's no a. yeah, there's a few weird nouns, like it's university, hospital, school. I think it's only those. I can't think of any more. Do you know what I mean? Have you ever are these bleh, is this the kind of thing you're talking about where there are some nouns? Okay, okay. Yeah, there's only very few. I can only think of hospital. I went to hospital. I went to school. I went to university. I went to gym. Gym's another one. I went to gym last week. I went to gym. No. I can only think of four. Um, but just remember, it's like less than 1% of nouns. So I forgot the last grammar we were doing. Okay, RNA and Proceda. RNA, we were doing present perfect continuous before. So my question was to Proceda. My question was, how long have we been speaking in this live stream video? And Proceda said, we have been speaking for yeah, Proceda said, we have been speaking for 50 minutes because the action started in the past and the action still continues now. Let me just see, Proceda. If I had the book you brought yesterday, I would be happy. Well, Proceda, conditionals will take conditionals. If I go into conditionals now, it's just a wild topic that has no ending. It's the one topic that gets really, really crazy because all the rules change with conditionals. But let me just see your sentence. If I had the book, if I had the book you brought yesterday, oh, so you mean if I had the book you brought now? If I had the book now that you brought yesterday, I would be happy. Yeah, if you said something like if I had the book now, you would just have to say now. If I had the book you brought now. Oh, if I had the book. Sorry, let me see. Yeah, I would say if I had the book, if I had that book now that you brought yesterday, I would be happy. Maybe I should just type the correction. If I had that, and yeah, you could say the because we both know the book, yeah. And then I would say that. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to say now. Actually, you could just say that. If I had the book that you brought yesterday, I would be happy now. And this is second conditional. And but it's just a little better just to say now. Yeah, if I had that book now that you brought yesterday. Okay. So let's go on to more grammar, but that is second conditional because second conditional is now. So RNA, Proceda, you can both join in. Here's the next question. How long have you been living in your town or city for? So just try, RNA, just try, if you want to practice your grammar, just try answer with the same grammar. Yeah. So how long have you been living in your town or in your village or in your city for? How long have you been living there for? And you can do a contraction. You could say I've. Very good. I've been living for the past, I don't know why, there's a little icon over your, yeah, I know you pressed the full stop before. So if you want to do a contraction, it's I've. Yeah, I've been living. Yeah. Thank you. I would just say I've. It's more natural. Yeah, I've been living. Okay, cool. I've been living. I would just say the place and then the time. Like I would say I've been living in. You see here. If you think that I don't know Kathmandu, then you could say a town, living in a town. called Kathmandu. Like that's if you think that I don't know. But if you think that I do know Kathmandu, then you would say yeah, you would say the town, or you could just say in Kathmandu. Yeah, I've been. So for me, I would just say I've been living in Kathmandu for the past. Yeah, interesting. Now we need the. Hmm. Yeah, because we use the past 12 years because I know the past 12 years and you know the past 12 years. Like, um, we live in different places, but we both know the same 12 years before this. So, sure. I've been living in, I would say, Kathmandu for the past 12 years. I've been living, yeah, for me, I would just say it like this. I've, yeah, I've been living in Kathmandu for the past 12 years. To me, that's the most natural. So you say, I've been doing in the place and then the time. So, oh, Erene, I've been living in Istanbul for 5 years. Perfectly, perfect. So, Erene, so with this grammar, it means that you still live yeah, sorry, Erene. With this grammar, it means that you still live in Istanbul. Yeah, you live there now. So it's like I've been living here for 5 years, and still right now, the action continues now. And same for Prasida. Yeah, like I've been living in Kathmandu for the past 12 years. You still live there now. Okay, here's an example. If something finished in the past, RNA. So here's a question for RNA and Prasida. Maybe Prasida, you could answer this as well. Like, here's the question: where were you living before Istanbul, or where were you living before Kathmandu? So this is for a duration that finished in the past. Where were you living before Istanbul, or where were you living before Kathmandu? Yes, you see, that is actually good grammar. Hmm. I had been living in. See, in this situation, you could use past continuous or past perfect continuous. So, Irene, you're correct. I had been living in Izmir for. You just have to say 4 or 5 years. I had been living in Izmir for 5 years. And Prasida, I was, yeah, you can also just say past continuous. So it's if duration that finished in the past. And so just for RNA, I had been living in Izmir. It's something that had been happening until a point in the past. So I was living in a small village called Golmib. Cool. No, RNA. Ah, I've lived in, yeah, actually that is correct, RNA. I have lived in Izmir. No, no, no. Let me show you one thing, RNA. If you use present perfect with duration or since, like for 3 years. If you use it like that, then for me as a native, I would understand that you still live there now. So if you just said to me, I've lived in Izmir for 3 years, yeah, and you can't say ago. Wait, do you mean, sorry, let me just see your grammar. Sorry, Izmir, do you mean the total time you lived in Izmir was 3 years, or do you mean you lived there 3 years ago? Or 3 years ago, then see if you If you want to use that, then I would say past simple or past continuous. I lived in Izmir 3 years ago, or I was living 3 years ago, because maybe you can see my, if you go back to my other grammar streams, live streams, um, with the present perfect, we never use the present perfect. We never mention a specific time with the present perfect, like 3 years ago. Okay. If we mention a specific time, then we use past simple and past continuous. So I lived in Izmir 3 years ago, and or I was living in Izmir 3 years ago. Okay, so for a specific point in the past that finished, past, we use past simple or past continuous. Okay, so let's go for the next question. I have been in Izmir. Well, if you say that, then I only know you did that in the past, but I don't know when. Because we use present perfect. If you use like that, then I know you did that in the past. I just don't know when, but I know it's in your experience. I would have been in Australia if I had applied for my visa. Is this correct? And which sense? This is a mixed conditional. This is a mixed conditional procedure. I would have been in Australia now. So yeah, you're really saying now, yeah? I would have been in Australia now. So you're mixing the second conditional, because the second conditional talks about now. Okay, I would have been in Australia right now. Now you're mixing with a third conditional. If I had applied for my visa. Okay, so we have a concept. We call the concept mixed conditionals. And you can basically just mix conditionals. You can use part of a second conditional, and you can join that to a part of a third conditional. Can we mix second conditional in exams? Yeah, I think you should be able to, because it's real language. Can we use mixed conditional? I mean, see, the only problem is I don't know what your teachers are like. I mean, if maybe they don't teach mixed conditionals. Um, some some teachers. The only problem is the grammar is correct. The only problem is the teacher or the school that's giving you the exams. Do they consider it as correct? That's the only problem. So I would ask your teachers what they think is correct, just to get the points in the exam. But if you're asking me, a native, mixed conditionals are very, very common. And they are correct to use because everyone uses them professionally, on the street, with family, with friends, always. Just with conditionals, conditionals always break the rules. So here's one example. You know, you're mixing conditionals. That's why I don't want to go near conditionals for now, maybe in the future. But let me, okay, can we mix second conditional in exams? So what else do we do here? I think we've done, now I think I've covered all the past tenses. I would really like to do the future tenses, but it's getting very, very late. So maybe I should do the future tenses in a future video. Oh, let me turn on my battery charger. What's going on? Oh, okay. So maybe I could ask you, where do you live? I'm living in Taiwan. Do you know Taiwan? I lived in Spain before. I lived in Australia before, and now living in Taiwan. If I were rich, I would have been in Dubai. Yeah, I would say I would be in Dubai right now. If I were rich, because that's second conditional. If I were rich right now, I would be in Dubai. Not I would have been. Well, if you want to say, if you want to talk about the past, then you could say when I was, or many years ago, if I were rich, I would have been in Dubai. Yeah, if you mention the time, this could be third conditional, but you just have to mention the time. You have to say, oh, many years ago, or when I was younger, or so. If I were rich, I would have been in Dubai many years ago. But right now, if I were rich, I would be in Dubai. Second conditional. For the future, if I am rich in the future, I would live in Dubai. If I hadn't read that, if I hadn't read that advertisement a year ago, I wouldn't be living in this hole. If I hadn't read, okay, so that is a third conditional. If I, yeah, see, Renee, you're doing a mixed conditional, and it's correct. It's correct, but it's a mixed conditional with a second and a third. So if I hadn't read that advertisement a year ago, that is third conditional, part of a third conditional. I wouldn't be living in this house right now. That is the second conditional. So you're mixing the past and the present, but it's correct. So as a student, you are in Taiwan. Is this sent as a student? No, I'm living and working in Taiwan. As a student, you are in Taiwan. Is the sentence correct, or should I use a student? Yeah, I would say as a student, as a student. Yeah, interesting. Interesting. Why a student? As a student. As the student. I am a student. It's weird. I never really focus on these articles too much as a student. I think it's because we're focusing on the concept, the general concept of a student. So we use a. It's generally I am a student. But if we're talking about one specific student, then it's the student. But the general concept, we use a student. But let me just move on to some other grammar quickly. Let me think of some other past tenses. Actually, guys, sorry, it's getting really late here. I think I have to do future tenses. Yeah, articles are very confusing. Do you know what, Proceda? You know, one good way to study articles, the and is I would find text like website articles and newspaper articles, not articles the and but web pages, or just find text, and then the search feature on your browser. Just click on, yeah. Do you know there's a find function, and just get the article or get the text, and then search for and the in the article. And then when you search, it will highlight all the articles. Well, if you search for for example, it will highlight all the examples of the in the article. And then I would sit there and um, try and look at the combinations. Like, oh, the university. Why is it the university? Oh, a student. Why is it a student? Oh, the concept. Why is it the concept? Yeah, I would just try and find some text and look at all the articles in the text, and just look at the combinations, and just try and understand the patterns. Yeah, that's yeah, and I say that for the prepositions as well. You could find an article, search for on, at, in, um, about, prepositions like this, and then just look at the combinations and study the patterns and combinations. So, sorry, I really, really have to go to sleep because it's very late here, but hopefully you enjoyed learning some grammar. And I think in the next live stream, I'm going to do some future tenses. So I have to become more regular doing this. I just have to make more of these. So Erene and Proceda, if you if you if you want to learn the other past tenses, tomorrow I don't think I can do live because my girlfriend will kill me. She wants me to go out and get some good food and walk around the city and things like that. I don't think I can do this on the weekend, but during the week when I'm working and teaching, I will definitely try and do some more grammar. And so the next one will be future tenses. When this is the biggest problem for me is like I'm always very busy, and no, Sunday I cannot, unfortunately. I think my whole weekend's planned already. But so I'm thinking next week, and maybe I really should get like a regular schedule. But for now, I'm just gonna do it when I'm free. Yeah, it was actually longer procedure. Like I was, well, yeah, just things were pretty busy recently. There was Chinese New Year recently, so there was holidays and things were busy. But yeah, the only thing I can do is whenever I have free time, I'll just go live. So hopefully you can catch it. But if you want to see the other grammar, you can go to the past live stream grammar videos. If you go to my channel, if you go to live, you can see the other videos, and I do all the past tenses basically. A week or the week. You you just came. Yeah, it's interesting. You just came live today after a week. Yeah, why is it not the after the week? Because I think it's a general concept of a week. We're talking about a general concept, like, oh, it took a week, it took a week, it took a month, it took a year. So we're talking about a general concept. But if we're both talking about a specific week, oh, that week was terrible, or the week was so tough. If we both get specific with one specific week and talk about it, then it becomes the. You came after the weekend. What do you mean? This weekend coming or last weekend? Sorry, guys. It's getting really late. I have to go. But so yeah, if you want to review the past tenses, you can go to the other videos, and you can kind of join in as well, because I ask a question and then everyone in the chat, they give the answer, and then I correct everyone's grammar. So you can kind of still practice all the past tenses if you follow the instructions in the video. See you. This was okay, Aaron. Hopefully it was fun. I I had fun, but it's just getting late here. But Proceda, actually both of your grammar is quite good. We'll wait you on Monday. Well, Monday, let's see, because sometimes my work is pretty crazy. But yeah, it should be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I should start scheduling these better. But okay, guys, have a good weekend, and go eat some good food, or you know whatever you do on the weekends. I hope it's good, and speak soon. Yeah. Okay. Bye, RNA. Bye, Proceda. Anyone else in here? Ciao. Good night. Good work. Thank you. Thanks for joining. Okay.